One of the most profound and timeless messages ever spoken comes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. These words carry a deep truth about human nature, conflict, and the power of love over hate. They encapsulate the struggle between negativity and positivity, emphasizing that hatred only breeds more hatred, and only love can break the cycle. In a world that often feels divided and filled with anger, Dr. King's wisdom reminds us that we have a choice in how we respond to adversity. We can choose to contribute to the darkness, or we can be the light that brings change and healing. In this video, we'll explore the meaning behind this quote, its relevance in today's world, and how we can apply it to our own lives. Through real-life examples, historical events, and practical steps, we'll uncover why love is the most powerful force for change. We will also discuss how individuals and movements throughout history have embodied this philosophy and the lasting impact they have made. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights leader, preacher, and advocate for nonviolent resistance. Throughout his life, he preached the philosophy that love, not hatred, was the way to combat injustice. His quote, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that," speaks to a universal truth. Negativity cannot be defeated by more negativity. This concept is deeply rooted in religious and moral teachings across cultures and has been proven through the successes of nonviolent movements throughout history. If you walk into a dark room, you don't add more darkness to remove it. You turn on a light. The same principle applies to hate, violence, and division. If we respond to hate with more hate, we only add fuel to the fire, making the world an even darker place. Instead, Dr. King urged people to meet hatred with love, injustice with righteousness, and anger with understanding. This approach, though difficult, has the power to disarm enemies, build bridges, and create meaningful change. It requires immense strength, but history has shown us time and again that love has the ability to transform even the most hostile situations. This philosophy wasn't just an abstract idea, it was the foundation of the civil rights movement. Instead of responding to oppression with violence, Dr. King and his followers chose peaceful protests, powerful speeches, and unwavering faith in the power of love to bring about change. They faced brutality, threats, and even death, yet they held firm to the belief that non-violence was the only way to achieve true justice and equality. Their commitment to love in the face of hatred inspired people across the world and demonstrated that moral courage, not physical force, is the true driver of progress. But how does this idea apply to our lives today? Hate is a cycle. When one person wrongs another, the natural instinct is to retaliate, often leading to an endless back and forth of resentment and revenge. History is filled with examples of conflicts where hate only bred more hate, from wars to personal rivalries. The greatest tragedies of human history, including wars, genocides, and feuds, often stem from an inability to break free from the cycle of hatred. When individuals and nations refuse to forgive, the result is endless conflict and suffering. Consider two feuding families, where each side believes they are justified in their anger. One person wrongs another, leading to retaliation, which leads to further retaliation. This can continue indefinitely unless someone decides to break the cycle. The only way to stop it is for someone to choose forgiveness, understanding, or love. It takes immense strength to be the first to lay down anger, but doing so can change the course of history. The same applies to society today. Whether it's political division, online arguments, or personal conflicts, responding with anger often escalates the situation. But when someone chooses to respond with kindness instead of hostility, the dynamic shifts. Studies have shown that kindness and empathy have the power to de-escalate conflicts and create a ripple effect of positivity. The energy we put into the world influences those around us, and when we choose love, we inspire others to do the same. Dr. King wasn't saying we should ignore injustice. Instead, he was teaching that the most effective way to combat hatred and evil is not to mirror it, but to counter it with something more powerful: love, wisdom, and moral strength. Love is not passive, it is active. It challenges injustice, stands up for what is right, and seeks to heal rather than destroy. This is why nonviolent resistance has been so effective throughout history. It confronts oppression without becoming oppressive. Love is not just an emotion, it's a decision, an action, and a way of life. Choosing love means choosing to see the humanity in others, even when they don't see it in you. It means responding with empathy, even when it's difficult. This is a radical concept, but it is also the only way to break cycles of hatred and pain. Every major religion and ethical system promotes the idea of treating others with compassion, because it is the foundation of a just and peaceful society. Dr. King believed that love had the power to change people, even those who were filled with hate. He knew that hatred often stems from ignorance, fear, or pain, and that responding with love could break through those barriers. When people feel seen, heard, and understood, their hearts can be changed. We have seen this play out in history and in our personal lives. Many former extremists and individuals filled with hate have transformed through acts of love and kindness that challenge their perspectives. There are many examples throughout history of individuals and movements that chose love over hate, and in doing so, changed the world. Nelson Mandela, after spending 27 years in prison, he could have emerged bitter and vengeful. Instead, he chose reconciliation, uniting South Africa instead of deepening its divisions. His ability to forgive and embrace his former enemies helped prevent civil war and set the country on a path to healing. Mahatma Gandhi, he led a non-violent resistance against British rule in India, proving that love and moral courage could triumph over oppression. His philosophy inspired countless other movements for justice and civil rights. Desmond Tutu, he worked to heal South Africa after apartheid by advocating for truth and reconciliation, rather than vengeance. His efforts helped ensure that past atrocities were acknowledged and that healing could take place. Dr. King himself embodied this philosophy. Despite threats, violence, and imprisonment, he refused to meet hatred with hatred. His unwavering commitment to love as a tool for change is what made his movement so powerful. His assassination was a tragic loss, but his legacy endures because his message was rooted in timeless truth. While most of us aren't leading social movements, we still encounter situations where we must choose between love and hate. Here are practical ways to apply Dr. King's wisdom. 1. Respond to negativity with positivity. When someone is rude, condescending, or even hateful toward you, your instinct might be to respond in kind. Instead, take a breath and choose kindness. This doesn't mean letting people walk over you, but it does mean rising above the negativity and setting an example of grace. 2. Practice forgiveness. Holding on to resentment only harms you. Whether it's a small personal grievance or a deep betrayal, choosing to forgive can free you from the emotional burden of hate. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself as much as the other person. 3. Seek to understand, not just to win. In discussions, especially those involving differing opinions, it's easy to argue just to prove a point. Instead, try to listen with an open mind. Seek to understand the other person's perspective, even if you disagree. 4. Led by example. Dr. King inspired millions because he lived by his principles. If you want to promote love over hate, be the example. Show kindness in your words and actions, and others will take notice. 5. Be the light in the darkness. In moments of conflict, tension, or division, be the person who brings light into the situation. Whether it's diffusing an argument, showing compassion, or standing up for justice in a non-violent way, your actions can inspire others. Dr. King's quote isn't just a reflection of the past, it's a call to action for the present and the future. His words continue to hold profound relevance in an era where conflicts arise not just in the streets but in digital spaces, workplaces, and even within families. In a world where division is everywhere, from social media to global politics, we need more people who choose love over hate, unity over division, and light over darkness. It is easy to get caught up in the cycle of negativity, but true strength lies in breaking that cycle and choosing to be a force for good. Imagine a world where instead of responding to anger with more anger, people responded with patience and understanding. Picture a society where disagreements led to meaningful discussions rather than hostility, where people sought to build bridges rather than burn them. A world where forgiveness was more common than revenge, allowing past wounds to heal rather than fester into deeper resentment. A world where love had the final word, guiding our actions and shaping a future rooted in compassion, respect, and genuine human connection. Dr. King dreamed of such a world. And while we still have a long way to go, every small act of love, every choice to meet hate with kindness, brings us one step closer. His words remind us that the greatest power we have isn't in our ability to fight back, but in our ability to transform the world through love. Retaliation may feel justified in moments of anger, but it often leads to more suffering. Love, however, has the unique ability to heal wounds, change hearts, and foster reconciliation. It is not a passive force but an active, deliberate choice, one that requires strength, wisdom, and the courage to rise above negativity. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. These words are not just poetic, they are a blueprint for how we should navigate our lives. They challenge us to reconsider our instincts and choose a higher path, one that uplifts rather than destroys. When we embrace this wisdom, we unlock the potential to create a better world, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. Dr. King's message is one of hope, courage, and responsibility. We all have the power to choose how we respond to the world around us. Will we add to the darkness, or will we be the light? Will we let hate control us, or will we choose love? The choice is ours. If this message resonates with you, type "I choose love" in the comments to spread this wisdom and help inspire others. And if you found this video meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on wisdom, personal growth, and positive change. Together, we can make the world a little brighter, one choice at a time.